Once upon a time, there was a disabled girl named Lily who was born with a rare genetic disorder that affected her ability to walk and speak. Despite her physical challenges, Lily had a heart full of love and kindness. She had a passion for music and spent most of her time listening to her favorite songs on her old, beat-up radio. Lily's parents were loving and supportive, but they struggled to provide for her medical needs. They lived in a small village that was far away from any hospitals or clinics, and the cost of her treatments was too much for them to bear. Lily's daily routine consisted of lying in her bed, staring out of the window, and listening to her favorite songs. She would often dream of the day when she would be able to walk and run like other children her age. One day, a group of musicians came to perform at the village festival. Lily's heart was filled with excitement, and she begged her parents to take her to see the show. Despite their financial struggles, Lily's parents decided to take her to the festival, hoping that it would bring a smile to her face. As the musicians began to play, Lily's eyes lit up, and she started tapping her feet to the beat of the music. She felt a sense of joy and happiness that she had never experienced before. Suddenly, a strong gust of wind blew through the festival grounds, and a large branch from a nearby tree came crashing down on Lily, leaving her unconscious. Lily was rushed to the nearest hospital, but it was too late. The accident had caused severe damage to her spine and brain, leaving her paralyzed from the neck down and unable to speak. Lily's parents were devastated. They had hoped that the festival would bring joy to their daughter's life, but instead, it had caused her even more pain and suffering. The family's financial situation became even worse as they struggled to pay for Lily's medical bills and constant care. They had to sell their home and most of their possessions to cover the costs, and they were forced to move into a small, cramped apartment. Despite the challenges they faced, Lily's parents remained devoted to their daughter. They spent all of their time and energy taking care of her, never leaving her side. As the years passed, Lily's condition worsened. Her health continued to decline, and her parents knew that they didn't have much time left with her. One day, Lily's parents received the devastating news that Lily's condition was terminal. The doctors told them that she only had a few weeks left to live. Lily's parents were heartbroken. They had always known that Lily's condition was serious, but they never imagined that they would lose her so soon. Lily's final days were spent surrounded by her loved ones. Her parents never left her side, holding her hand and whispering words of love and comfort. As Lily's condition deteriorated, her parents could see the pain and sadness in her eyes. They knew that their little girl was suffering, and they wished that they could take away her pain. On the day that Lily passed away, her parents were devastated. They felt like their world had come crashing down around them. They knew that they would never be the same without their little girl. Lily's funeral was a somber affair, with many of the villagers coming to pay their respects. As her parents stood by her grave, they couldn't help but feel a sense of emptiness and sadness. For years after Lily's passing, her parents struggled to come to terms with their loss. They missed their little girl more than words could ever express, and they wished that they could have done more to save her. As the years passed, Lily's parents struggled to find meaning and purpose in their lives without their beloved daughter. They had sold all of their possessions to pay for her medical bills, leaving them with no money or resources. They were forced to rely on the charity of others to survive. The grief of losing Lily never left them, and they were haunted by her memory every day. They often thought about what her life would have been like if she had never been born with her condition. They imagined her running, playing, and laughing like other children her age. But no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't escape the reality of what had happened. Lily was gone, and they would never see her smile again. As time went on, Lily's parents grew older and weaker. They struggled to take care of themselves, let alone each other. They were alone and isolated from the rest of the world, with no one to turn to for help. One day, Lily's parents were found dead in their apartment. They had passed away in their sleep, holding hands and surrounded by pictures of their beloved daughter. The news of their passing sent shockwaves through the village. People were heartbroken to hear that Lily's parents had died alone and forgotten, with no one to mourn their passing. Lily's story had touched the hearts of many, and people began to realize that something needed to be done to prevent other families from suffering the same fate. A movement was started in Lily's name, dedicated to providing medical care and support for families with disabled children. Lily's legacy lived on, and her memory continued to inspire hope and change in the world. But for those who knew and loved Lily, the pain of her loss never truly went away. They were left with only memories of her smiling face and the sound of her favorite songs playing on her old, beat-up radio. Years after Lily's passing, the movement that was started in her name had grown into a national organization dedicated to helping families with disabled children. Thousands of families had received the support and care they needed to provide a happy and healthy life for their children. Lily's legacy had touched the hearts of millions, and her story had become a symbol of hope and inspiration for people all over the world. In the village where Lily had lived, a beautiful park was built in her honor. The park had a playground with swings and slides that were specially designed for disabled children, and a beautiful statue of Lily was placed in the center of the park. Lily's parents were never forgotten, and their memory was kept alive through the work of the organization that had been started in Lily's name. Their sacrifice and dedication to their daughter had inspired others to take action and make a difference in the world. As for Lily, her spirit lived on through the countless children who played in the park and were able to experience the joy and freedom of being a child, regardless of their disabilities. Lily's story had come full circle, from tragedy to hope, and from sadness to joy. Her memory had become a beacon of hope for people all over the world, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always a glimmer of light waiting to be found.